No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed about that question, but you thought obviously it's good.
I enjoy every day. We're giving our supporters some joy and some belief and some hope.
You know, there's no law. There's no one's going to die.
Yeah, bin it, mate. Just bin the whole idea. Just forget about it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. We want the 16th, says Florentino Perez, moments after winning yet another UCL. I mean, you don't have to like the man, but you do have to recognize his greatness and his success.
It's kind of like what people are like now. Greed. Gimme. Next. More. It's like, come on, man. Enjoy this one. Because all I think if you say things like that, all you're getting across to the fans is that nothing happening matters. It's all about next season, always.
Well, yeah, well, to be fair, the success hasn't changed, Perez. That's how he's always been. I mean, he's always been about that. I mean, if you remember that famous story, before he was even elected, he was saying, I'm going to get Figo.
Yeah.
And he tricked him to come in. It was some clever contractual maneuvering. He tricked Figo into going. So, I mean, he's always been about the next score, the next win.
Yeah.
And they won this one again. It's kind of like watching like Premier League years from like 96, 97.
Mm.
And you're like, oh my God, this Robbie Fowler guy's unbelievable. He's unstoppable. Surely Liverpool going to win it. And then in the episode, might not lift the trophy. And you're like, oh yeah. I guess I knew they were going to win this year as well. I kind of was watching the kind of narratives unfold. I thought maybe this year something would be different, but no, it all comes to Real Madrid lifting the trophy again with Don Carlo smoking a cigar and dancing on the pitch. And I mean, I don't know if that has the same effect anymore as the manager dancing on the pitch. I think it's been like it's been okay. It's like, this is okay. This isn't going to ruin your career. It's not undignified. People actually like seeing people celebrate. So I mean, it just doesn't have the same effect as seeing a guy in a suit dancing with players. Like, oh my God, he's dancing with the players. Look at him.
He's one of them. He's wearing a backwards hat.
The last one that shocked me was the Brazil coach doing the chicken dance.
That was mid-game. That was mad.
Yeah, it was mid-game, and also the chicken dance is never going to be accepted in society.
Not dignified.
Just a chicken dance. So, yeah, but I mean, it was a predictable result and was a predicted result by many. I don't know if you saw the preparations beforehand. They had all the former greats like Del Piero and Kaká doing their prediction for the game and all that stuff. And they're like 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, you know. But it didn't look like that for most of the game. It looked like Dortmund might actually cause an upset here.
Yeah, all the way up until Madrid's goal, when you could just feel the life was sucked out of Dortmund. But for the first 60 minutes of the game, it was all Dortmund. Our boy Füllkrug came so close. Oh. So close, twice.
Big Nick Füllkrug.
I mean, that's it for him.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to imagine that was his best, if not only, chance to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Kind of a Jamie Vardy situation, almost, you know. It's like, this is the year to do it. And if not this year, then never again. But I mean, maybe that's a bit unkind. I mean, Dortmund kind of got there fair and square, you know, and they had a very good side. And they had a lot of weapons that you could see in the game. And I was like, say, in the first half, I mean, I thought Mendy was giving Sancho a lot of room. He was like, I am not going to end up on the Champions League Instagram page getting cooked. Yeah. I'm not getting edited.
No way.
I'm not going to find myself in an edit.
Yeah. No one's putting the effect over me.
No one's putting a chef's hat on Sancho as he dribbles the ball through my legs. He was giving him so much space, and then Sancho just passed it around him. I mean, the Füllkrug chance hits off the post. Yeah. That starts with Mendy standing way too far off Sancho. He's like, I'm not getting close to you. And then Sabotage just runs behind Mendy. Like, he's completely no man's land. Sabotage runs in, puts the cross in. I think it's Adeyemi who kind of goes for a penalty, but then doesn't get it. And it's kind of like, no way. Camavinga comes out, loses the ball. It comes back into Füllkrug. What might have been, hits the post and all that. But I mean, it all started by them giving way too much room to the Dortmund players. Like, I'm not going to get cooked. You know, and then they were able to just pass the ball to them. I mean, Brandt got loads of space as well. He had a good chance the first half. I mean, they had all the possession, they had loads of space, loads of chances, and it was just a bit of some bad touches from players let them down. But I mean, they could have definitely had two. The Füllkrug one, which there was a little bit of space that could have in theory gone in. And then the Adeyemi one, that was the real.
You're true, man. The room we were watching in erupted into things like, if I was on the ball, I would have just gone past him.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. He's very left-footed. You see it sometimes, players who are like overly reliant on one foot. And I get you play systems, you play on one side, everything. There's no need to have your right foot until it's the Champions League final and you're coming in that side and you can't. You don't want to go around the keeper's left because like I don't want to be in a situation where there's an open goal and I have to use my right foot and kick it wide. So I'm going to go to my left, lose all my momentum, and like you stopped, and then you have to get by 7'8" Courtois, who's just going to like push you wide. And to be fair to Carvajal, he got back as well after initially being done, but like that was the chance. That was the one to put.
That was the one.
Put 1-0 up. There was another one where I think Brad put Adeyemi through, and his first touchdown down pushed himself wide, and then he kind of kicked it, and then Füllkrug had to like twist himself in the air trying to head it in. I was like, no chance for that one. But I mean, I think Real Madrid didn't have a shot on target till the second half.
It didn't feel it anyway. They were. But we do know that is how they play, is they play on the break. And if you are good at keeping the ball, they probably won't get the ball into your box, do you know what I mean? But it's, once they get a goal from a corner or something, then you have to run at them. It's game over. It's as soon as they scored, it was game over.
Yeah, it was strange because like typically, say you go 1-0 up in a final, after being like, dominated for the whole game, you're thinking, all right, panic stations. Let's keep what we have here. But for Real Madrid, it's like, oh, thank God, we're going to win now.
Yeah, they were dancing, they were smiling.
It was no like when they got that first, like it was a 1-0 win, a 1-0 lead, and like Carvajal's obviously celebrating, and then there was like other players celebrating on their own, like yes, we won the game. Like there was no doubt. That's when they got all their chances. Then there was the Kroos free kicks, and Carvajal, he had kind of two foreshadowing attempts. The one chance where he headed from the exact same position, it just went just over. And I was like, okay, I'll try that again later on.
I'll adjust slightly.
And then everyone was talking about Ian Maatsen, the on loan Chelsea left back. Be at fault for the second goal, but he's also at fault for the first goal. He was meant to be marking Carvajal. He just pushed off him. He saw him running. And he's like, what are the odds that guy's going to get the header, Like you got Nacho here, you got Rudiger. He probably won't do it. And then gets ahead of Füllkrug and puts it in. And then of course Maatsen gives the ball away for the second one. And it's like, oh, God.
I sent you the very sad clip. So when Rice was brought on for Adeyemi, one of his first actions was passing it to Maatsen, and then just sadly watching as he saw the goal unfold and probably knew himself, oh, it's all over. Everything's done.
Yeah, it was a tough day for Royce because he obviously got the what a 16-year-old might do and dye his hair blonde for the final, which is pretty sick move.
Cool.
But then when he comes on, he comes on and they immediately concede. It wasn't his fault. But as soon as he came on, all right, game over,
Yeah. They've got an old guy on now. It's much easier for us.
Yeah, he didn't have much effect when he was on. It was kind of like, I see why they're not renewing his contract almost. So he didn't come on like a impact sub, and the flip side of that would be Modric, who came on. Maybe Dortmund were tiring and they took off Brand, they took off Adeyemi, who'd obviously done a lot of run the first half. When they brought on Modric, like, oh yeah, this guy's contributing. Whereas Royce came on and was like, he's not doing a lot. And, they're behind. It's like, yeah, they've probably timed this well. Like maybe this is the end of Marco Reus, but yeah, tough to start your career at Dortmund in 2013, losing the final, and to end it in 2024, also losing the final.
I saw some Dortmund fans complaining about this coach, how he cares more about the script than winning the game. Because they were talking about, remember the Dortmund, the game at the end of last season or season before now, where all they had to do was win on the last day. And do you remember who he brought on to get a goal in the last few minutes of that game? I don't know if you remember. It was a 16-year-old making their debut.
Oh, when they were losing.
At the time, they had they had a pretty good bench, but he went with this guy with the idea of like, it's your moment, do this for us. And then obviously he went on to lose the game. So now it's twice where it's like, now you bring on Rice. It's like, oh, we could have done more legs, to be honest. So that's a criticism leveled at him at the moment.
Yeah, they were on their feet. I don't think Royce was going to add much to it, but yeah, I mean, a lot of those German players before this, I was like, I can't believe they're not being brought to the Euros, and then you see Adeyemi making like bad decisions and poor touches, and it's like, well, maybe Julian Ritz for Leverkusen might be a better choice on that side. Maybe Musiala is still a bit better than him, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit unfair, but I didn't think he had a great game. I thought Hummels had a great game.
He was well up for it too. I think there was that moment about 40 minutes into the game where he cleared the ball and he gave it yeah, come on.
Yeah, I had a big tackle on Vinicius as well, which also got a big cheer from the crowd.
Yeah,
he played that pass from centre back to Adeyemi when he should have probably scored if he had any right foot.
Yeah.
So he was in it. Like, he was playing really well. He didn't get skint at any moment. It was like, 2 mistakes. One from set piece, not his man, and then the second one was just, ball to the other man on fraud watch, Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the assist in the final, Will, just like Zidane would have.
He can be a better player than Zidane. I'm confident to say that he will have a better career at Real Madrid than Zidane.
There is a Zidane comparison here. The long stride, the elegance, the touch of subtlety despite being a big man.
Both good in tight spaces, very good in football IQ.
I've seen videos where they put some of his plays and some of Zidane's plays, and it's like, okay, I have goosebumps now.
You can see that he's learned a lot from Zidane, but in some other ways this sounds like blasphemy, but in some other ways he's better than Zidane. He can score more goals. Defensively, he's a lot stronger than Zidane because physically he's a lot stronger than Zidane. I know this sounds very, very strong, but he can be a better player than Zidane. He can have a better career than Zidane.
We all want to see Zidane again,
He brought out the trophy at the end. I think mostly for UEFA to get pictures with him and Bellingham.
Yeah, like, you ever see those clips of him playing in various charity games or five-a-sides or just like messing around and training? It's like, oh my God, what a player. And like, he was before our time, really. Like, I mean, the late 90s, early 2000s, we weren't really watching a lot of football. So, I mean, you see clips and it's kind of like, oh, he's almost like a mythical figure. It'd be great to have him back or someone of that quality back. But I mean, I think they're forcing the Bellingham narrative a bit too early. I'm not saying that Bellingham isn't good, but like, you just think, like, when Zidane joined Madrid, he was like 28, 29, like at his kind of peak, especially for that position where it's like, I can still run, but the game has slowed down where I can see it a lot clearer. And that's when he had his peak years. Like, wow, this guy's amazing. Like, Bellingham is 21 in June. It's like, give him time to develop his game. Do you know what I mean? Don't be like, he's Zidane right now. It's like, Zidane probably at 20 in a Real Madrid team wouldn't have been as good. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like, just let it happen naturally, don't force it.
Let him have his career, yeah. Or be like, it's Zidane, that's who he's like, it's Zidane.
But just, I suppose, the English factor as well, it's like they want someone to bring it home for them, so like, they don't have time to let it happen naturally. Like, let's win them all. So
Maka, look how relaxed he is. I've never seen a 90-year-old that relaxed. The confidence he has is
so
amazing.
Mature as well when you speak to him. His vocabulary, the way he handles himself, and they love him in Madrid already, but it's what he does off the pitch as well. Very humble. The staff love him. The CEO speaks very, very highly of him, and this is away from the pitch, so it shows what type of man he is.
Going into the stands, like, I could never imagine the day before the Champions League final, my family they wouldn't have been in the stands anyway because they never were allowed. But walking into the stand and standing there and going, that was a good session. We won that one today, and it was, what about tomorrow? I've had a few things at strawberries before training. That's what it feels like. It's so relaxed and calm. I can't understand it. But for a kid that young, I would feel that I'm taking my mind off of the bigger picture, which is to try and win a trophy. If I was that relaxed, I was always really intense. I don't know about you guys.
It was all really intense first, but maybe that's why it's so effortless for him. He's just natural, and I think that's his talent. Obviously, on the pitch, he's amazing.
Yeah, he didn't have an amazing game. I think Kroos had an amazing game. Like I said, the Dortmund field kind of dominated. Like, Brandt and Emre Can, who I thought were pretty good, also snubbed by Germany. Kind of dominated that midfield. I was like, oh, this isn't amazing. But yeah, look, it was just an inevitable result. But if you watch the game, you think like, it was, it was like Inter Milan when they played City. It's like, of course they beat Inter Milan. It's like, well, not of course, because Lukaku got in the way of the ball. Like, there was chances, there was real, genuine chances where it could have gone in. And there was a chance in the second half for themselves. Füllkrug got that goal that was disallowed as well.
It's one of those things where it's like the magic. It's like Madrid are a magic of their own now, where if you go a goal down to them in Champions League final, you do just think, well, that's that. Like, what's the last time they lost one of these? The 80s? Like, what can you do?
It was before that, Will. Did you hear that going around?
I did hear it the last time they were beaten in the European final. I can't believe I knew that stat before. It's
Did you know
news to me.
I did not know that before at all.
Yeah.
Apparently, the last time they lost a European final of any kind was against Alex Ferguson when he was manager of Dundee.
Aberdeen.
One of them.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's what I said, Will. That's exactly what I said. The baby.
Learned there was a follow-up fact to that. Did you know that Aberdeen are the last team to win the Scottish Premier League that weren't Rangers or Celtic as well?
I did not know that. I mean, I would have guessed that, but I also said, no, there must have been 1 year, surely. That's probably disrespectful to say that. There must be that sometime or some that's one. Yeah, I think it is. But like speaking of say Ferguson and Man United, it is that kind of psychological thing. Like maybe they got tired. I don't want to like insult their fitness as professionals. Like I think they just got to run out of legs there, as professionals. They couldn't last 90 minutes. They timed it wrong. They haven't played enough football in life to know what 90 minutes is. I think it's like they missed so much chances. And I said even at half time, like, well, that's it now. They're going to come out second half and they're going to dominate. And they didn't really. But I think you keep missing chances. You're looking across at those Blancos jerseys. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, we are maybe not going to regret those chances, but we will rue and lament those chances, And Real Madrid, equally, they're like, it's like the Man United thing. It's like, can Man United score? They always score. It's like, they know in their heads, like, we're going to win this. Like, we're going to get a chance. All we need is a chance. And like, even like there was the Toni Kroos couple of free kicks that like, they were saved. And for anyone else, like, oh God, that could have been a chance. But like, for Real Madrid, it's like, yeah, we're getting there. We're riling it up, we're getting going. It's like, no, like you're being dominated.
There was a moment after the first goal, I think it was right before the second goal, but where Carvajal put a ball out for a throw in.
Yeah.
And the camera zoomed in on him and he had just the biggest smile on his face. And you just know, if you see a guy in the other team smiling like that, you're about to lose this game. Like, there's no way. He just knows.
It was inevitable in many senses, but I don't know. It feels like something to be lost to history. It'll just be a scoreline and be like, no, they could have won it.
Classic Dortmund bottling.
Yeah, 2 finals in 10 years. More than most teams could say, really. More than a lot of teams could say. But unfortunately, nothing for them this year. And one of football's good guys, Dortmund. This
all the way up until the day before the game, there everyone was on their side.
This was a no-brainer. Like Real Madrid, like 15 title. No one see that really. Toni Kroos needs one more Champions League. I don't think so. It has to be for Dortmund. Dortmund are the good guys. And then for whatever reason, they decided to announce this today. Well, not today, but was it 2 days before the Champions League final?
Yeah, right before
on the Dortmund website. In big black lettering with highlighted yellow, taking responsibility. Rheinmetall becomes BBB's champion partner. Rheinmetall are a defense and technology group. They are taking up some sport washing of their own in the Bundesliga.
Why not us?
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, why leave it to those Gulf states to have all the fun in the sport washing department? I mean, it's an interesting one. This is a 3-year deal in the singular millions. It hasn't been released the actual the amount, but it's single digit millions per year. So it's not like this is going to bring us up to the level of Bayern Munich. It's like this will be a sponsor like any other, except worse.
Except it harms our perception, which is like, surely the opposite of what you want a sponsor to do is to like make people like you less. You want to, this will spread the word.
Yeah, spread the good name of Rheinmetall. Rheinmetall has been around a long time, very long time. I mean, you might say, look, this is a German company, born and bred. You can't get more German than Rheinmetall, you might say, They started before World War One, back when the German Empire was a thing. Made stuff for the Kaiser in World War One. Still going after that. Made stuff for the Germany
the other
in
guy.
World War Two. In fact, actually, after World War One, the Treaty of Versailles, they were told you can't make stuff anymore. you got to do some like I know you got a lot of steel. Maybe make some typewriters and some cars, things that people need to create art and poetry rather than bombs and shit. But then that was all loosened, and then World War II came around, and hey, good times are back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading off the Wikipedia page this history, but there is a particularly troubling passage in it that not that there's anything to do with today's Rheinmetall, but I mean, it did happen. During the Second World War, numerous forced labourers worked in the Rheinmetall factories. In the Unterler plant alone, around 5,000 foreigners, forced labourers, and prisoners of war were liberated by British troops at the end of the war. Between 1944 and 45, Rheinmetall Borsig took over the sponsorship of the nursery for foreign children in Unterloop, which was also a maternity home for forced labourers and a killing centre for their children.
Wow. Killing centre, you say?
Yeah, for the pregnant women they captured. Then they would take
of course, because they're no use in the gun factory. Fucking hell.
At times, Hungarian Jewish women from subcamp of the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp were also deployed in Interloop. So I mean, this is like some of their history, some of their proud history of the Rheinmetall Armaments Company. They've through different periods after that. They survived. They're survivors. They kept going, and they're back today sponsoring Dortmund. I mean, I guess if you want to look at that and say, okay, well, let's maybe take our context, and you have to look at today, and it's all the backdrop of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I keep seeing that sentence, the backdrop of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And look, it's fine for us to kind of like cast an eye on this as a neutral country who don't really make anything and don't really have any fear of invasion because they don't have any natural resource or anything like that. But I mean, I remember when I was in Crete that time, working for Traumatos, as we all know. But yeah, I mean, they have the mandatory military service for 18-year-olds over there.
Which they've been talking about bringing back to the UK. Did you see that?
Well, this is it. I mean, people are saying that's kind of an election thing for older people who think that these snowflakes need to kick up the hole, put them in the army, like I never did, that'll make them right. So maybe that is what it is, but it's getting around. But in Greece, they did that. They do the mandatory army service, and the idea is that you have all men of army age have done basic training and know how to shoot a gun and know how to do basic stuff. But when that war happened, when the full-scale invasion happened, I've honestly never felt tension in the air, like going into shops, going into like cafes or pubs, and like all the war-age men were like, "Oh God, I didn't think this would actually happen." This is tense, and like Greece had nothing to do with that in theory, but you're closer to that border, and they do have scars from World War II, generational scars, and you can still see the stuff. And so Germany obviously has a lot of that. So I mean, I think there's been a huge kind of, maybe we should, just in case they do conquer Ukraine and then go, well, what next? That we're not sitting there like, hey, I thought we were not doing this anymore, like, well, we are. Okay. Well, we have nothing, So
yeah,
maybe it's sports washing. Maybe we'll see how the German people respond to this, because I mean, it's like, it wasn't too long ago they were like giving about Red Bull being sponsored teams, but things have changed in a lot. Maybe people are thinking maybe it's good that we do have armament factories, actually, that we do have weapons that we can make ourselves. We're not relying on, like, if you're relying on Russians to make weapons, like, can we have some of your weapons? Like, no. Oh,
we're against you.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, like right now it feels like, well, this is a crazy move. This feels kind of like maybe Dortmund have even been forced to do this because there's not a lot in it for them. But give it a year, we'll see where we're at. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a few more sponsorship being like. I mean, back then this is what we would call propaganda.
Yes.
That get in the factories and make weapons to support our country. And like the statements that Dortmund made does kind of say a lot of those things. I mean, the CEO of Borussia Dortmund, Hans-Joachim Watzke, security and defense are fundamental cornerstones of our democracy. That is what we believe. It is the right decision to focus intensively on how we protect these cornerstones, especially today when we're experiencing every day how freedom in Europe must be defended. We should deal with these new normality. We're looking forward to the partnership with Rheinmetall and as Borussia Dortmund, who we are constantly opening ourselves to a discourse. So kind of what I said there, basically, that like, you know, maybe it was all sweet a while ago, but if you open up the news there, it's not actually all sweet anymore, and we have to kind of.
It's just I get the doing it to, you know, ease the public into seeing Rheinmetall more, you know what I mean, and you know, help out the perception. But it's just bizarre when it's like, I get the sports washing, but when you think of like, what the hell does Borussia Dortmund have to do with all this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that thing of like, they're going to have it on the jerseys and, you know, on the advertising boards. But I was just like, the thought of watching a game, and I know this isn't what they're doing it for, but it's just so bizarre now that it's at a point where normally they have the sponsors there. So you see it and you go, actually, I want a Pepsi. I don't know why. It's just something maybe want one.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the idea of like a person sitting down to watch Champions League and going, I could do with some tank munitions, actually. You know what I mean? It's so far removed now what even the sponsorship means.
Yeah, well, there's different, you know, types, I guess. There's one where it's like, ooh, I would love a Pepsi or I'd love a Coke or whatever. And I'm actually looking on the Dortmund website, they actually are sponsored by Coca-Cola as well. There's a big...
Yeah, of course they are.
Thank you for Infürchten Fußball. And it's like the Dortmund players holding bottles of Coke. But like, that's that one. Dortmund players, Coke. I remember the taste of Coke. I'd actually like Coke now. This one is more like, Dortmund are good. I like Dortmund. So therefore... maybe these boys aren't so bad either. I mean, the kind of the marrying of that is McDonald's sponsoring on Irish podcasts with like you know, a couple thousand downloads. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't need to know what. Oh, McDonald's uses. What's that? Oh, burgers. Interesting. I might try one of those burgers from McDonald's. It's like, it's just like, I like that podcast. I've heard some bad shit about McDonald's, but I like that podcast, so it kind of makes it good.
How bad
mind.
could it be? Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, I want to buy some guns now because of this, but it's more kind of, it's easing the perception. It's like associating yourself with something positive. So yeah, maybe it is just the German government being like, look, we're going to have to make guns anyway, so may as well, you know, get a good PR campaign for it. So it is interesting. But I thought in 2013 when I don't know, was it Bayern or was it Götze who said before the final, I'm injured for the final. Also, I'm joining Bayern right after this. It's like, wow, that's a sucker punch. That's not a good look. I didn't think they could top that. But this one, we're like, oh yeah, you want to support us, the good guys? Think again, you know?
Yeah.
We're doing something that no one has ever done before.
Yeah, literally like at first. And you do have to think, well, this is going to open the door to like, there's going to be a lot of this going on, I assume, from a lot of especially the more state-sponsored clubs. I think we're going to be getting a lot of weapon sponsorship back and forths over the next while. Maybe the future is you know, at the moment it's the official football clubs bickering back and forth, making fun of each other. Maybe that's the future. The official arms dealers of countries saying like, "Oh, cooked, washed."
Yeah, I kind of want to go on the Rheinmetall X page, but also I don't really want to go on the Rheinmetall X page just in case they're tweeting like a person. You know, I would hate that.
Yeah,
because I mean, what about like say national fear or protection and like just like stockpiling stuff just in case? It's like, okay, I get that on some level, but then why are you giving weapons to other countries who are doing other stuff right now?
Yeah.
do they need protection? You know, or are you just making
exactly
a lot of money off
that?
That
that's the thing is like, well, you're doing this to boost the perception, but it's like step one, do it right before the Champions League final, and also the company you're doing it with are heavily involved in something that has a very negative perception at the moment. It's like, well, you're falling at the first hurdle, lads. So it's like, I think this is doomed to fail if this is all you think all it takes is like, stick it on the jersey. They'll love it. Yeah,
the yellow wall of guns. Right itself.
It is funny to think of Jamie Carragher just a month ago, drunk in the middle of the Dortmund wall, and how much, like in a year, what that's going to mean.
I think Jamie Carragher might be headhunted by these guys.
Yeah.
He might be a spokesman for them. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not the best weekend for Borussia Dortmund, but maybe also not the best weekend for Kylian Mbappé, who you might think after signing bumper deal of like anytime I see Kylian Mbappé, it's always accompanied by eye-watering numbers of like, how is he? How does that number even fit into a page? 125 million signing bonus, because as we all know, Mbappe
free.
He's joined on a free from Paris Saint-Germain. His contract ran out. So ordinarily, you would probably have to pay 125 million to sign him from PSG or from a club. PSG were never going to sell him, but that's the kind of money you'd have to spend to get him from a club. Now it just goes straight into his and his agents and his whatever pockets. So that's the money is still paid, just not to another club. So this is good. This is a win for Labour. You know, the Labour is the players. So this is good.
Mm-hmm.
He will get 15 million a year, plus bonuses, increasing bonuses over the years. And crucially, he gets 80% of his image rights.
I mean, that's probably where the money really is. It's from what I know of transfers that fall apart, players really want the image rights.
Well, I think since Cristiano Ronaldo, who obviously is a different case altogether, and I don't think we'll see many people on that level in the near future, even Mbappe or Bellingham or anyone like that. But I think he had 80% of his image rights at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid were making more money off the 20% image rights than they were paying him a week, which was not a small number either.
Yeah.
So wrap your head around that. That 20% of his image rights were more than they were paying him. And so he was like, I want a pay rise just out of fairness, because this feels kind of wrong that I'm paying you more than you're paying me to play there. So yeah, the image rights is a big one, because if you are someone a high star at that, you'll get a lot of endorsements, which I mean, it is a lot of it. If you're playing Real Madrid, a lot of it that does boost it. So it's not like it's unwarranted, but we'll see if that has to be renegotiated in the next few years, because he'll certainly be doing a lot of photo shoots. I mean, you see how the one he released on X about him as a young boy in Real Madrid tracksuit with Ronaldo in looks like the Bernabeu.
Yeah, I remember that picture a few years ago that was always knocking about, was him in the room, surrounded by Ronaldo posters. Yeah, that's his boy. That's his dream, is to be Ronaldo. Even though now he's probably on track to win more now if he's at Madrid or for the next few years.
Well, this is it. You might say, well, what are you saying, lads? This is a great weekend for Kylian Mbappé. But I mean, you're now joining a team who's won the double, won the Champions League, and the player who plays in your position, Vinicius, is, he's already been elected Balon Dor by Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah, play the clip.
Balon Dor, Balon Dor, Balon Dor, Balon Dor, Balon Dor, Balon Dor. Vinicius has just taken the Balon Dor. He's at the Balon Dor in the bag now. Has he gone ahead now for the Balon Dor? Wow. He's looked dangerous in the second half. He's looked dangerous. Then he scores and backs it up. The biggest moments in the Champions League this season, Vinicius Junior turned up.
What is that man up to? Why does he do this?
I saw him get absolutely slammed in an article. It might have been on The Guardian or one of them, but it was basically saying TNT could learn a lot from CBS's coverage of if you're going to go full fan zone, at least make it entertaining. Don't just give me 5 hours of Rio Ferdinand talking shit.
Yeah, if you are just going to glaze someone, as the kids might say, do it. Don't disguise it as real analysis. Yeah. Don't talk about the man's vocabulary, as if that's something that's important. It's that kind of thing where your phrasing is this is a positive thing because of this and this. Just say you love him. Just say he's English and I hope he's the best player ever. And move on to somebody else. Don't try and softly, sport wash in your commentary of you love this guy. You know what I mean? It's it's a weird kind of cause we can see through. It's shut up about Jude Bellingham or shut up about Vinicius. It's for Mbappe anyways, I mean, he can play up top, but I think for a lot of players, I mean, Rashford suffers from this as well, where he likes playing on that right side, doesn't like playing up top, because I mean, it seems to be a lot harder to play in that.
You can't cut in when you're in the middle. You got to cut in from the side.
No one wants to playing up front, holding the ball up and playing it off, and maybe, running 10 times and getting one shot on target, because it's that's how many times it takes. So you get up, you run, you cut inside, you don't track back. Happy days, I mean, I guess he could play up front. I guess he could play on the right. I mean, Rodrigo didn't have a stellar final either, but he's been good for the last few years. But I mean, when does that matter at Real Madrid,
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd imagine it'll be some kind of combination where you have Mbappe on the right, and this on the left, and then they'll switch over and see what works.
Eventually leading to a huge falling out, no doubt.
Yeah, it comes down to who can put their ego aside, you know.
Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw how many celebrations Vinicius did after he scored his fluffed attempt at a goal.
Yeah, the room we were watching it were like, you've mentioned before in the pod, he would really get under your skin if you were marking him. Because he's so in your face and celebrates so much every game.
He's a cocky bastard is what he is.
Yeah.
He's smug to the extreme. He's always smiling on laugh people's faces. I mean, you know that clip of him throwing the ball away from the Bayern Munich player, Kimmich. You know, Kimmich is trying to give him the ball and he keeps like moving his body, throwing away, and then it's like, you know, it's again, the people I was with, someone said, listen, he shouldn't be getting racist abuse, right? I'm not saying he should, but he's a bollocks. He should be getting abuse, just not racist abuse, you know? We all agreed, you know, yes, that's fair. That is fair. We should be abused. Yeah, he did like 6 celebrations after scoring like goals. Like, okay, the second, not consolation goal, but like, you know, the stealer, I guess. This is definitely going to win now, but like, he kind of, I don't know what he meant to bounce it over the keeper. He kind of like scuffed it, really, you know, but anyways, he's going to win the Balon Dor. Unless I guess Jude Bellingham wins the Euros for England, which might seal it for him. But isn't the Balon D'Or end of season now? Isn't the Balon d'Or now kind of? Or
I think there's 2 Balon d'Ors a year, so there's probably one after the Euros.
It's like best player in Europe award, and then there's the Balon d'Or.
Yeah, how the hell does that work? Do they do it after the Euros and then you do one?
I think there's 2 different awards.
December for no reason, 6 months from nothing.
When does the Balon d'Or? Because they did change it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. There's definitely it's end of season rather than end of year.
20th of October it's going to happen. So after the Euro it's going to happen.
Okay. October. It's like, so it's mid-season.
Start of the next season.
Yeah.
So end of season including the summer. So when there's nothing going on during the summer, I mean, who had the best fit picks in Dubai? Did that go into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's it'll probably be a Real Madrid player. But unless there's some kind of unbelievable performance in the Euros, you know. But
is Kroos going to the Euros?
You damn well better believe he's going to the Euros. Well, it's his last dance. That's all everyone's talking about.
So I mean, surely that's a cert if Germany win
it. Maybe, but like, did he have the best year? He had a good year actually for Real Madrid. But even still, it's like, I think it's all about goals. Will it's got to be goals?
That is true. Yeah.
It's still voted by captains of countries and managers.
So yeah, I believe so.
Well, then this won't win, honestly.
Yeah, he's made a lot of enemies.
It's a popularity contest at the end of the day. You know, that's like a twisted, like that's what it is. It's like people, and then media people voting for it as well. Like, fuck this guy, Bellingham. You know, if there's a suitable candidate besides, you know, and like if you vote for Kroos, people say racist, but you can vote Bellingham. It's like, all right, perfect. You know, I can just get out of that one, you know.
How my days, you know.
I put Bellingham 1 and Kroos 2 and Carvajal 3rd. What of it, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's all for Mbappé to do really at Real Madrid. I guess Mbappé could win the Balon d'Or.
Yeah. He's hot. He's a cool new name on the block. I don't know if you saw Fabrizio Romano's rolling 24-hour coverage of him being confirmed to Real Madrid. Literally a tweet on the minute, every minute by the looks of it.
I saw that. I was like, it's done. It's been. I read one article.
You ruined it. You told us this ages ago, man.
I read one article. It's like 7 years after they first wanted. I was like, has it been that long? It's been 7 years of my life remembering this. Mbappé to Real Madrid, Mbappé to Real Madrid. It's like some kind of trance, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it was you ran Adam Hooray from Football Cliches. Like, it'll be sad to not see a photoshopped image of him again. It'll only be real images from now on, you know. It's been going on for years. Like, it's almost a decade of this mooted transfer. It's finally done. Yeah, no, listen, best luck to Kylian Mbappé over there. But
I'm sure he'll be just fine.
I'm sure he'll do all right. But there's been good players who've gone, it hasn't worked out, you know, so it's not a guarantee thing. But yeah, it's maybe the start now of the new era for Real Madrid, the Mbappé era, because they already had Ronaldo there for a long time. It was like, you know, he has to win his Champions League and stuff. So I think it's a good time to come in. You know, there's enough time between, and now it's Vinicius and Bellingham and the boys. So yeah, there's no other real transfer news, no other transfer main news so far, is there?
No, it's quite enough because as it's the Euros, I'm sure it's a combo of a lot of players being like, I'll think about this after the Euros, and also it's a lot of clubs being like, let's see who's above average at the Euros that we could buy.
Yeah, let's see how these players play on Instagram. You know, let's see what their aura is like online before we sign them. Because sometimes they do it where it's like, I want to get it done before the Euros. You know, I want this transfer done, wrapped up. Like say Mbappe is obviously he's not messing around, but it's a free transfer, so it's a bit different. But like sometimes they wait. Sometimes they say, "Oh, I'm going to sign now, and therefore I won't have to worry of how I get injured or whatever, and I'll be done, and I can just concentrate on the competition." But there's not much of that. It's all kind of, I'd still be a big transfer race after the competition, I think.
But it feels like as well, especially in the Premier League, it feels like everyone is broke or one more transfer will leave us broke. So
yeah,
especially with the way FFP is now, it doesn't feel, it's not as out of control as it was just a few years past in the glory days of 140 million for everyone.
Yeah, maybe the penalties, as much as we mocked them and said these are unfair and unprecedented, maybe it has scared people a bit, where it's like, maybe we do have to actually mind these rules now. Maybe we won't go spending crazy money.
Here is one for you now. I was thinking this. That was officially the last Champions League as we know it. That was the end of the last season as we know it, because from next year on, all European competitions will be in a league format and the extra playoff and so on. So it's interesting now to see, like, is it going to be the same? Is it just going to be the same teams? Or is it a whole new world where, like, we're not really so focused on the Premier League, we're focused on the Champions League and things like that. I think it'll be an interesting time next season.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think any of these changes ever like to balance it out. It's more like for more money and entertainment. So I'd say it'll be the same teams, thereabouts. It'll just be a different format. It'll just see how it affects the players, I guess, is the biggest thing. Will they be more tired? Will they, will they get more of a break or what,
Here is one thing I saw. That was officially the last season with the winter break for Champions League. The Champions League from now on and all the European competitions roll straight through December and January. No stopping.
Really?
So, no. Yeah, because of the extra games in the group stage and the playoffs in between, and no more teams dropping down to the Europa League or Conference League as well. So a huge, like, if you make the Europa League now, you're probably thinking, fuck, we might actually win it. Barcelona aren't dropping down this season, or Sevilla aren't dropping down. Yeah. So yeah, it's a whole new world where more football than ever, Carl.
That's mad. That might suit. I don't know who that would suit. I mean, obviously the countries with winter breaks will now not have winter break, so they might be used to it. But say in England, where they don't get a winter break and they play
where are you
through,
going to put those games?
Now they're going to play even more games, like 24/7 games. They might just be absolutely shattered.
We're going to really struggle to cover all these games, I think.
We do now. So I mean, we'll probably just cover the same amount of games, and we'll just get a lesser percentage of it. But I mean, look, this is the thing with cup competitions. It's like if there's knockout, if there's like the points matter on a smaller scale, they're more exciting. When it's a league format, it's like, yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah,
we always want to lose the PSG away. We'll get the next game against Schalke, or wherever it is. I think Schalke are in Division 2 now, but like one of those kind of things. That's how leagues eventually fall. It's like, well, they're the best team. We're not going to beat them. We'll just have to target the ones that are us, and we'll try and get to, it's like it becomes kind of a bit boring when it's a big league, Like obviously the group stages, it's like we have 6 games, we have to win 4 of them.
Yeah. Now we have 8 games, you have to win 2, draw 1, and then win the 2-part playoff against the team that's in 18th.
And if we finish mid-table, be good. We'll build for next year,
Yeah. All we want is top 4 of the Champions League table.
Yeah. Maybe we're being unfair, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it at all. This is a good Champions League. I think the final was good because I was kind of up for Dortmund too. So every chance I had in the first half, I had my head in the hands like, no, God.
Füllkrug, no.
Go to his right. Yeah, no, it was a great season to end it on. I mean, Real Madrid won it, like, as I say, just like a Premier League years. Like, of course, Real Madrid win in the end, but yeah, and they'll only get stronger next year. So Looking forward to that. I mean, the only thing to do now is to look back on our absolutes from last episode. I forget completely what I said, by the way. Absolute 1 is that there will be a missed penalty in the final.
Oh, that's a good one. Jude Bellingham. I think, last game before the Euros, all the talk is going to be about him. I think he is going to have a poor game. It'll be for the next month, we're going to be hearing like, is Bellingham that good? You're going to have him in ahead of X, Y, and Z. So I think Jadon Sancho is going to just be a goal all game. But he might get a tackle. He'll be on the end of a scrambly goal.
There's going to be an invader on the pitch. Dortmund winning. I'm going to say 2-1 in the night.
Wow, I think 3-1 Madrid.
Oh, Jude! Jude, man! Jude! That's the Balon d'Or. That was the Balon d'Or in his hands there.